Hey, what's up YouTube? In this video, I'll be showing you how to make an Alex statue. From what I understand, she's basically the female version of Steve. It seems right that we add her to the collection. If you want to make her, here's what you're going to need. You will need some white stained clay, also grab brown stained clay, and some green stained clay, lime stained clay, also grab dark green wool, and dark grey wool. Then grab cyan stained clay, and finally grab yourself some yellow stained clay. We are unfortunately going to need a few more colours later on, but we need them in very small doses, so we'll grab them when we need them. Once you have each one of these materials that we have right here, and once you've figured out what you want to make her, I'll be making her right here, you're going to want to kick off your Alex statue with this sequence of blocks in a row on the floor. Do 1 dark grey wool, 2 grey clay, 2 dark grey wool, 2 grey clay, 1 dark grey wool to give you the base row of your Alex statue. By the way, I know that this isn't dark grey clay or grey clay. I know it's cyan, but it's grey. Let's just call it grey. Once you've got that base row taken care of, for row number 2, you actually just want to copy exactly what you did for row number 1. So take row number 1 and just make a direct copy of it on top of it, like that. For the next row, do an entire row of dark grey wool. For the next 2 rows, we're actually going to be doing the first 2 rows again. So starting from the left hand side, do 1 dark grey wool, 2 grey clay, 2 grey wool, 2 grey clay, 1 grey wool, and like I said, that's for 2 rows, so once you've got that first one taken care of, do the exact same thing just above it. Then for the next row, do an entire row of dark grey wool. Then do 6 solid rows of brown clay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we've just got to add those in now, so that'll be 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, just like that. Once you've done your 6 rows of brown, you then, for the next row, want to do a single lime clay on the ends of your row, and then do brown clay everywhere else. Then for the next row, do an entire row of lime clay, followed by an entire row of dark green wool. For the next row, do a single dark green clay on the ends of your row, and then do lime green clay everywhere else. For the next 3 rows, do 3 solid rows of lime clay, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 3. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 5 lime clay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then 1 yellow clay, 2 lime clay. For the next row, starting from the left again, do 3 lime clay, 2 dark green clay, 2 yellow, 1 lime. For the next row, do 2 lime green clay, 1 dark green, 2 white, 3 yellow. For the next row, do 1 lime, 1 dark green, 4 white, 2 yellow. And for the final row, do 1 lime green, 1 dark green, 3 white, then 3 yellow, to give you something which should in total look a little bit like this. And this is what you want to have for the front of your statue so far. Once you've reached this point right here, all you have to do now are the arms. So once you have reached this point, come all the way around to the right hand side of your statue and come down to the first row of the torso, which is this one right here where we first started placing green. Going right of this green block, do a row of 3 white clay, so 1, 2, 3, coming up the right hand side of your statue. On top of this row of 3 white clay, do a row of 7 white clay, or I should say, stack 7 rows of white clay on top of this row of 3, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we just want to apply that onto every single one of those to give us in total 8 rows of white clay, 1 plus 7, 8. For the next row, going up on top of the arm, just do an entire row of dark green clay. For the next row, do an entire row of lime green clay. For the final 2 rows, starting from the left hand side, do 1 yellow and then 2 lime. And like I said, you want to have that for 2 rows. So in total, you want to end up with something that should look exactly like this. And that is Alex's left arm. Technically left if you're looking from her perspective. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now do the other arm. So coming all the way over to the left hand side of the statue, or right hand side, going left of this green block, do your row of 3 white clay, 1, 2, 3. Stack your 7 rows directly on top of it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then fill those in, 1 and 2. You then want to stack a row of dark green clay, followed by just 3 solid rows of lime green clay to give you something which should look a little bit like this. And just in case you guys are wondering why the arms are different, if it's not completely obvious, it's just because Alex seems to have some sort of ponytail. Well, not a ponytail, I guess like a side braid or something, and it just like comes across the left hand side of the body and kind of intrudes on the arm. Once you've got the entire front of your statue completely taken care of, this is what you want to do next. Come all the way around to the back of your statue. Take out your dark grey wool, and starting from each end of the bottoms of the feet, you want to extend out of the back of your statue by 3 with your dark grey wool. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Then just connect each one of those third blocks together, like so. We're now going to build up the entire back of the statue very much how we just built up the entire front of the statue. So, building up on top of this first row of the back of the statue, this is what you want to do for the next 5 rows. Starting from the left hand side, do 1 dark grey, 2 grey clay, 2 dark grey, 2 grey clay, 1 dark grey. And as I said, that's for 5, so we'll call this the first, second, third, fourth, 5th, and now we've just got to add all of the individual rows. So we're just applying all of the materials that we need to apply. Just got a little bit of grey clay left. So there we go. That's what you want to have so far. Once you've done all of those rows, you then for the next row want to do an entire row of dark grey wool. For the next 4 rows, do 4 solid rows of brown clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4. For the next row, do 1 brown clay on the left hand side of your row, and then just fill the entire rest of your row in with lime clay. For the next 2 rows, do 2 solid rows of lime clay. For the next row, do an entire row of dark green wool. For the next row, do a single dark green clay on the ends of your row, and then do lime green clay everywhere else. For the next 6 rows, do 6 solid rows of lime green clay. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we've just got to fill those in now. So that'll be row number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 4 yellow clay, followed by 4 lime clay. For the next row, starting from the left again, do 6 yellow clay, followed by 2 lime clay. Like that, and this is what you want to have for the back of your statue so far. Once you've got that taken care of, all we have to do now are the backs of the arms. So, for the backs of the arms, they're actually extremely similar to the front of the arms, and as you might imagine, they are positioned in the exact same way on the back of the statue. So, what I would recommend for the backs of the arms is that you just look directly forward at what you did for the fronts of the arms, and just copy them directly onto the back of your statue in the same positions. Just like that. However, I will point out that on the back of the statue, on that left arm that I've just done, can you guys remember how we used to have 2 yellow clay up at the top there? Well, on the back there's just that one at the very top. That is the only difference. Just pointing that out. Once you've got that taken care of, the other arm is actually the exact same, so you can then just copy the other arm from the front of the statue and everything will be nice and easy. You literally just look straight forward and copy what you've done. It's not difficult whatsoever, so just do that. Then it's just lime green clay, and once you've taken care of both of the backs of the arms, you've actually fully completed the back of your statue. So you want to end up with something that should look exactly like this. Nice and easy. Once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the sides of the statue. So come all the way over to this side of your statue first of all. The way that we're going to be doing the sides of the legs is we're first of all going to be building up on top of this left block with a sequence of blocks. We'll then do the exact same thing on top of this right hand block. So starting from on top of this left dark grey, you want to do this sequence of blocks. Do 4 grey clay, 1, 2, 3, 4, followed by 1 dark grey wool, followed by 3 brown, 1, 2, 3, then fill the rest of the leg in with lime clay. So you just want to have something which should look like that. I'm sure you guys get the gist. Once you've taken care of that first row, you then, for the next row on top of this right hand dark grey wool, you want to do 2 grey clay, 1 dark grey wool, 1 grey clay, 1 dark grey wool, then 3 brown clay, then make the entire rest of the leg lime green clay. So what you want to end up with is something that should look exactly like that. Very, very simple. Once you've got the side of the leg taken care of, we can now move all the way up to the side of the arm. So first of all, just fill in the bottom of the arm with white stained clay, like that. What you then want to do to fill in the side of the arm is actually really easy. Just match whatever colour you have on the front and the back of the statue. Just match that into these 2 middle blocks and then you'll be fine. That's all you have to do. And it's a similar story up at the top of the shoulder here as well. Just do 2 rows of 3 lime green clay coming in towards the center of the statue just for the top of the arm, just for the shoulder right there. But just to show you guys the entire side of the statue done, really, really simple. As I said for the arms, just match the color. Once you've got that one side of the statue taken care of, you now want to do the exact same thing all the way over on this opposite side here. So for the opposite side of the statue, the way that we're going to do this, just look directly forward at what you did on that side of the statue that we've just done and then copy it onto this side. It's as easy as that, it really is. Just look directly forward and just copy what you've done. It shouldn't be difficult whatsoever. So we're just filling in the side of the leg here, just got to do the bottom of the arm, and then the arm's easy anyway because we're just color matching, so we'll just fill that in. Lime green wool. The only difference when you get up to the top of this left arm right here, you guys can remember that we filled this side in with lime green clay. Well, this side, just completely fill it in with yellow clay, like that. Just come in by 3 with your yellow clay and you will be absolutely fine. And again, that's just her hair kind of just protruding onto the top of the shoulder, just like that. And as you guys will be able to see, once you've got both sides taken care of, you won't be able to tell one side from the other. Completely easy, completely simple. Fantastic. Once you guys have got all of that taken care of, we can now move on to Alex's head. So come all the way around to the front of your statue and come all the way up to the top of the torso. You're going to want to kick this off by doing a row of 8 white clay on top of the top row of the 8 blocks of the torso, like that. Once you've got your row of 8 white clay, you then want to do 2 additional rows of white clay coming out in front of that first initial row, like that. So you want to have 2 overhanging rows of white hanging out in front of the statue. Once you've done that, I'm actually realizing that it's time for us to get out our bonus colors. So if you guys want to completely get rid of your cyan stained clay and your dark grey wool, and if you want to grab yourself some magenta stained clay and you want to grab some white wool, then we can finish off the head. So once you've got those 3 rows of white, that first one and then the 2 that you placed in front of it, you then, for the next row of Alex's face building up on top of this outward row, do 2 magenta clay in the 2 center spots of the next row, and then do white clay everywhere else. For the next row, do an entire row of white clay. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 1 white clay, 1 white wool, 1 dark green wool, 2 white clay, 1 dark green wool, 1 white wool, 1 white clay. For the next row, starting from the left hand side, do 3 yellow clay, followed by 4 white clay, followed by 1 yellow clay. For the next row, starting from the left again, do 4 yellow clay, 2 white clay, 2 yellow clay. And for the final 2 rows of Alex's face, just do 2 solid rows of yellow clay. So that'll be 1 and 2 right there to give you Alex's pretty face all in its entirety. So once you've got that taken care of, we can now move on to the rest of the head. So once you have reached this point right here, come all the way around to the back of Alex's head, take out your white stained clay, and what you basically want to do is take out your white stained clay and you want to extend this first initial row of 8 white clay back, coming towards the back of the statue just by 2 rows like that. So do 2 rows of white clay. You then want to take out your yellow clay and do 3 additional rows coming out further of the back of the statue. So you want to end up with something that should look a little bit like this. So 2 rows of white, 3 rows of yellow, like so. Once you've got that taken care of, you then want to take out your white clay, and since we're on the side of the head, we may as well do the details that exist on it. So, starting from the right hand side of this second row right here, you just want to do a row of 3 white clay coming towards the back of the head like that. You then, for the next row, want to do the same, just do another row of 3 white. Then finally do a row of 2 white, so you want to end up with something that should look like that. 2 rows of 3, 1 row of 2. You then want to do the exact same thing on the opposite side here, so do 2 rows of 3, then 1 row of 2, just like that. Then take out your yellow clay and come to the back 2 corners of the head and raise up those 2 back corners of the head until they are equal height with the front of the head, and then just connect them to the front of the head just as I'm doing now. So you just want to connect them to the front of the head and also connect them together as well to turn Alex's head into a nice big cube. What we now want to do is just completely fill in that cube with our yellow clay, and then we'll actually be done. That will be our Alex statue 100% fully completed. So we're just going to fill in all of these faces of her head, and then that will be that. So just got 2 more to do. Is it just me, or does Alex kind of look like Peter Pan? Is that the whole vibe that you're supposed to be getting? She does kind of look like Peter Pan, right, without the hat? I mean, maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. I guess Peter Pan wears like green tights or something, but I don't know. I don't know, that's the vibe that I'm getting, man. But anyway, there you go. That is what the head wants to look like once it's been completely filled in with yellow clay. So once you've got that taken care of, you have 100% fully completed your Alex statue. So this is what she wants to look like. Let's give her a nice little bit of a 360 to look at her. She's a nice looking statue, nice and easy, nice and simple actually. A little bit more complicated than Steve to make, but I think that she's pretty cool looking. I'm glad that we actually have the clay to make her. And I guess it's good that they finally made like a female counterpart to Steve. I didn't even know that Alex existed. I don't think that she actually came out that recently. Like, I was tip-tapping around the internet a little bit, and I don't think that she's more than a year old even for the PC, but I might be just completely pulling that out of nowhere. But I have a feeling that she might only be like 8 months old or something, but maybe I made that up. I don't think she's been around for too long, but like I said, it's cool that there's finally like a female version of Steve, and she looks pretty cool as well, looking pretty nifty. There are actually a couple of Alex skins that I quite like to take focus off of this one for just a moment. I've been thinking about doing the Tuxedo Alex. I really like that for some reason. I quite like most of these actually. But anyway, that's not about those. So hopefully you guys managed to make this statue no problem, guys. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. I don't know what I'll be doing. We'll see.